Excited about how ITIL4 embraces new ways of working, like Agile and DevOps. We believe many IT teams will benefit from this major update found in ITIL4, and it provides valuable guidance as an IT organization works to transform and shape the way that their teams work. Now let's take a closer look at how we can put this into action and leverage ITIL4 practices in our organization. Before we jump in, I want to provide a little background of how we arrived at this moment. We had an opportunity to meet with the Axelos team a few months ago, learn about ITIL4, and read the ITIL4 Foundation Guide. I really like what we read. As many of you may know, Atlassian is very passionate about teams and understanding how culture and practices impact their performance. So true to this passion, my colleague Ian Buchanan, who comes from a DevOps world, and I set out with a research project to understand how ITIL4 helps IT and software development teams. We were very pleasantly surprised by our research. So much that we, along with Axelos, put together our findings and wrote a guide about how ITIL4 and Atlassian can help IT teams start their journey and embrace new ways of working. Now, we won't be able to cover everything in this guide today in this webinar, but I'll cover some top highlights of these practices that will make the biggest difference. The complete guide is also available as a download resource in this webinar on your screen. What used to be loosely labeled as processes in previous versions have become, in effect, practices in ITIL4. ITIL4 puts service management practices into a strategic context by looking at IT service management, development, operations, business relationships, and governance holistically. They offer guidance on 32 practices, but here's the great news. ITIL4 recommends that IT organizations start where they are. Learn and adapt as you grow. Agile and lean methods are woven into the modern approach to IT service management. And based on Atlassian's experience with working with thousands of high-velocity teams, we found the best performing IT teams use these practices. Now, we won't have time to cover all of these today, but we want to highlight a few of these. You'll find a lot more information in the guide that we've written about this from our research. Today, we want to share the top 3 best practices we've learned from customers who have adopted Atlassian for their ITSM solution needs. Service desk and self-service are so important for IT teams to deliver higher quality support that's valuable to the organization. It's about that customer-centric service desk that's shifting left to deliver that greater value. And when it comes to outages, it's about adaptive incident management. And when that outage occurs, an IT operation team needs a good plan for their incident response so they can find that fast path to recovery. And when it comes to managing and evolving your IT infrastructure, IT needs an approach that speeds up the flow of work without compromising stability of business applications. This is where we'll take a closer look at the modern practice of change control. But first, let's talk about one key practice that permeates throughout ITIL4. Continual improvement. It's the outside layer of the service value system in ITIL4. Continual improvement is the core skill IT organizations need to develop and put into practice. In a world of DevOps, a world that ITIL4 wants to align with, continual learning and improvement is a key practice. A recent global survey by GamingWorks found that fewer than 20% of organizations have continual service improvement as an end-to-end capability across the organization. It's typically localized and siloed within smaller pockets within the org. As you embark on your Agile journey, start with continual improvement. It allows you to assess where you are, identify where you want to go next, practicing both improvement kata, but also practicing retrospectives. This can help you understand where a team is at and how they're progressing intervally and working towards larger goals, while reflecting on the past to find ways to improve. Reminds me of a recent conversation with a customer where in this enterprise organization, they shared how their DevOps teams were influencing the IT organization. They're working closely with teams within the IT org to introduce continual improvement. They're working to set the North Star based on business goals and objectives and establishing a 6-month challenge and target that help them start practicing the plan, do, study, and act. And that allows them to take these targets along the way and find improvements and remove bottlenecks. They started small and they're actually finding success as they grow this practice. So if you only take one thing away from this conversation around ITIL4 today, it's continual improvement. The Atlassian Team Playbook offers many great resources for Agile IT teams, including this one on how to run a basic retrospective for your team. The goal is to understand how well your team has performed after a major project, a milestone, or it could even be a service team in their monthly check-in. But what this allows you to do is take it into your team to run the play and it help you identify action items for improvement, all while keeping an open space for discussions to happen without blame or accusation. This brings us to the request management practice. The service desk and the quality by which requests are managed represents the face of IT of the organization. What kind of signals does an IT send with a bad UX or slow service or no response at all when someone submits a ticket or contacts support? Many traditional tools and practices treat all tickets the same, with the focus on making it cheaper to service requests. ITIL4's focus is on value, and it opens up a new window. Some requests are more valuable than others. Conversely, the cloud is opening up new ways to enable self-service. For example, AWS recently worked with Atlassian to automate the connection between self-service in Jira Service Desk portal and requesting a AWS system image from the AWS catalog. Jira Service Desk implements the human interface to the workflow, but integration lets automation participate too. Atlassian's approach